Historians will finally be able to analyze the exact shape of the bulbous bow and learn its secrets. How could the world's largest, most powerful warship have been defeated in battle so quickly that she took almost her entire crew with her? The vulnerability of battleships like the Yamato was first demonstrated when Japan's Navy attacked the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor. On the morning of December 7, 1941, hundreds of naval aircraft from a Japanese carrier force hit 8 American battleships while they sat at anchor. Then, only 3 days after Pearl Harbor, the Japanese launched another air attack off Malaya. Japanese aircraft easily overwhelmed the new British battleship Prince of Wales while she was fully armed on the high seas.
This event was very shocking to professional naval opinion because the Prince of Wales was a new ship ready for action, and yet Japanese planes sank that ship in short order.
Within 3 weeks of their attack on Pearl Harbor, Japanese aircraft had damaged or destroyed every Allied battleship in the Pacific Ocean. Japan had demonstrated to the world's navies how skillful use of air power could trump the battleship. Despite this overwhelming success, the Japanese still put their faith in the invulnerability of the Yamato.
It was exhilarating being stationed on the best possible ship. I couldn't contain my excitement.
Back then, I really wanted to engage in battle with an American battleship in the Pacific. I kept praying for that to happen.
But the days of pure battleship-to-battleship warfare were waning. The Battle of Midway was the turning point of the Pacific War, and it was a contest of aircraft carriers. In June 1942, the U.S. Navy lured the Japanese into a trap and sent hundreds of its aircraft to take on their fleet. In just hours, Japan lost 4 of her carriers and over 330 aircraft. It was a defeat from which the Imperial Navy could never recover. During the battle, the Yamato functioned as a command center, but it stayed 300 miles over the horizon, beyond the range of American aircraft. After Midway, the Yamato lost the air cover which had been provided by Japan's 4 carriers. She was forced to retreat to the safety of Japanese bases. The crew waited and continued to prepare for a major battleship engagement, which never came.
The Japanese never committed the Yamato. They felt they could not risk an irreplaceable treasure. The Yamato, from the end of August 1942 until May of 1943, was at sea for 1 day.
Seldom leaving port, the sailors joked about being stationed on the Hotel Yamato.
I had it easy. For meals, we didn't have to eat barley. We were given white rice. And there was a free flow of sake.
The battleship had become the Japanese Navy's most impressive white elephant. And while the Yamato sat in Kure Harbor, the Japanese Navy was losing the war. With great loss of life, American forces were retaking Japan's Pacific territories, island by island. Invading Tinian, Saipan, and Iwo Jima, step by step, the enemy was approaching the sacred home islands. By April 1945, Americans were poised to invade Okinawa, only 300 miles from Japan. Short of everything but human lives, the Japanese unleashed a secret weapon.
Kamikaze is the Japanese name for it. Fanatical death dives that are now the enemy's chief weapon. Aerial harakiri in a desperate attempt to smash our fleet.
Pilot Ed Sieber encountered his first kamikaze while attempting to land on the USS Bennington.
He was heading right down toward the fantail of our ship. I happened to be on the base leg of my carrier approach. I rolled out and I pulled the trigger. The ship's guns were firing. The kamikaze was hit. Part of the airplane landed on board our ship, scaring the life out of us. It was very awesome, because, I mean, our psychology is not used to that idea.
The American aircraft carriers threatened the Japanese home islands. There was a sense of collective patriotism that you must protect your family, father, mother, younger sister, your children against the enemy.
Most of the kamikaze pilot volunteers were university students. Those science students were deemed too valuable to sacrifice.
The newspapers began to applaud the kamikaze in a very dramatic fashion. Gradually, this suicidal spirit became widely admired.
400 miles north of Okinawa, the Yamato sat in the relative safety of Kure Harbor. Its young officers knew that the kamikaze pilots were fighting a decisive battle only a day's sail away.
They would announce over the loudspeakers, "The third kamikaze flight has just attacked." You could hear a pilot's radio right from the plane. "We are diving now." And I would pray, knowing that they had died then, at that instant.
By the spring of 1945, the kamikaze had hit 300 ships, killing thousands of American sailors. Even the wholesale sacrifice of the suicide pilots didn't stop the American advance. But for the Japanese, the deaths recalled a tradition of ritual suicide, a willingness to die for honor. Here, perhaps, was an invisible weapon, unique to Japan. While the Americans battled the kamikaze on the approaches to Okinawa, another battle was raging at Japanese naval headquarters. An air raid on Tokyo had left 1 million people homeless. The smell of death was everywhere. In such an atmosphere, how could the Navy fail to commit its greatest ship to the battle? Even a battle which could not be won.
I knew that Okinawa was the only place left for us to go. It was an unspoken understanding that there was not enough fuel to return to Kure.
The same commanders who had organized the young kamikazes prepared secret orders for an even more desperate plan. With virtually no air cover, the Yamato would sail toward the hundreds of enemy warships approaching the beaches of Okinawa. If her big guns did not sink the enemy, she was to ram them. Her crew would fight the Americans to the death, using their sidearms, their flare guns, or even their bare hands.
Common sense told the admirals that if the Yamato was sent towards Okinawa, it would easily be destroyed by air attacks. There were more than 3,000 men on board the Yamato, and that would mean they would all have to die.